I'll tell you another secret. Lot of times patients don't get well by our conventional treatment. I tell them, simply do some charity and pray, you will be all right. And you would be surprised, lot of them get better. I get lot of requests on email, say I got this disease, I got that disease, I saw this doctor, that doctor, I spent so much money, but still I am not all right, I am worse than what I was. I just tell them a simple thing. Now forget about all that. Just do this. Do something for others. Do something for others. Live for others. And that is exactly what you all do. And how do you do that? You don't have to join a Sangha. You don't have to join any club. You simply have to do your job well. Words were so beautifully said. Service. He said, Sai Service Sangha. Do you know what service is? Service is like the daisy. The daisy. The daisy with the shadow that it casts protects the lingering dewdrops from the sun. What does the daisy do in the morning? It just opens. And it opens, it throws a shadow around it, and that shadow protects those dying, getting fried dewdrops from the scorching sun. That is service. You open up in the morning in your own sphere. You may be a housemaker, homemaker. Open up and be nice. Have a nice smile in the morning. A good smile will make everyone in the house their day. Suppose, let's say you are a banker. Be a good human being so that the clients who come in contact with you, supposing you are a doctor, be kind. It is not the medicine that you give or the surgery that you do that cures. It is the faith the patient has got in you, which is called the placebo effect, that cures. And that faith should be commanded from the patient. If you are a good human being, patients will have faith in you. You can't demand. We demand faith. We say we are doctors, very, very busy, I have got only 5 minutes to talk to you. Come on, tell me what's your problem. And I immediately write some battery of tests and write it. That won't command respect from the patient. If you command respect from the patient, and the patient will get better without your medicine or with your medicine, in spite of a medicine, in spite of a surgery. This has been proved by extensive scientific studies, including surgeries like bypass surgery have been shown to be having a placebo effect only and not otherwise. Which only goes to show how important our mind is. And where is the mind? Never mind. The mind that you think you have in the brain, you are mistaken. That was the old science, where a man got a Nobel Prize for showing that the mind is in the brain. The same scientist, long before his death, wrote a beautiful paper saying that I'm sorry, I made a big mistake, though I got the Nobel Prize, I made a big mistake. The mind cannot be held in the brain. Mind is universal. There is one universal mind which is called, in Indian concept, Paramatman. There is an individual mind which is called Atman. And the Atman and the Paramatman are independent of each other, but your mind is like a wave in the ocean. You see the waves in the ocean, and the ocean is wave is a part of the ocean. So you are a part of the ocean. The ocean is Paramatman, and the wave that you are is Atman. And today, latest scientific research has shown that the soul, Atman, does not die with the patient. They are doing studies, it is extensive studies, part of it is published, which showed that the consciousness persists even after the patient dies. And they have studied up to the time the patient left the hospital, the consciousness is still there. So the Atman, what we thought the soul in the olden days, is the truth. So one of the greatest quantum physicists, who was the Max Planck Institute director for 20 years, he wrote in a paper where he wrote, matter is not made up of matter. He writes there, I am a child in front of the Indian sages who understood quantum physics thousands of years ago better than me. And he says, everything is put down in the Upanishads. This man is German, he doesn't even know English very well, but he knows Sanskrit, and he has read that. And he writes in his paper, Bahirantascha Bhutanam. Consciousness or Atman is everything inside and outside everything. Sukshmavate tavijnayam. It is so subtle that no science can find it out. Nobody has seen an electron. Absolutely right. Charam, acharamevacha. You look very solid, but there is nothing solid about you. You are a bundle of energy. You are waves. You are just energy. And but you look solid. That's called Maya, which Shankara has called Maya. So this man writes all this in his paper on quantum physics. Can you believe that? Which shows our ancient wisdom, which Swami was heir to. is the biggest science of the world. Science, after all, is understanding this universe. And we had understood it much better than the Westerners who are trying to understand it now. And almost all the new scientists are looking to the East for inspiration. And the West has to learn from us, and which they are doing now without telling us. But we should know that they are learning from our wisdom pool. So, but we don't have any respect for our wisdom. Most of us are RNIs, RNIs, resident non-Indians. We live here with an American mind or a British mind. They must tell us what is right and what is wrong. For the last 45 years, I have been writing and saying and fighting, saying that the fat is not the cause of heart disease, and fat has nothing to do with heart disease. Cholesterol is nothing to do with heart disease. And this I have been saying and getting brickbats and all kinds of rubbish written about me. But now America says the same thing. They say fat is not responsible for heart disease, and we have made a mistake and killed millions of people. So please understand that fat is not the response. Now everybody says, yes, you are right. See, they don't believe us. I have been writing papers, scientific papers, showing them how fat is not responsible for anything. Anything in moderation is fine. But they didn't believe that, because there was a big industry of fat reducing industry, which was running the whole show. Today, I have a shock. This morning when I was getting ready to go to the airport at 4:30, I had an email from a friend of mine in London. He sent me an editorial for the next, that is today is Friday's Lancet, which I would have got next week, where the editor of the Lancet now writes, Richard Horton writes, saying that science has been a fraud. Can you believe that? Science has been a fraud. More than half of what we believe is not true. But we are not allowed to talk about it. And he so beautifully writes, there is now a mask, a parda, he says. This is the word he uses in the editorial in the Lancet. There is a parda now. We were sitting and debating this in the Royal Society, but there the official said, don't talk about it outside, don't quote us, don't write it in a paper, and you are not supposed to do that because the election is coming and it will be a big blow to the government, so please don't say this. Can you believe that? This is how the world runs, on fraud. But you and I, believing in, we have got a culture. Culture is what? You do what you say and say what you do. Vakevam kritevam sajjanam, vakevam kritevam durjanam. If you say what you do and do what you say, you become a sajjana, a good man. If you do something and say something else, you become a durjana. That is why the British 20 years ago chose Ramacharitamanasam as a fountainhead, pinnacle of ethics of the highest order. Whether it is science, whether it is medicine, whether it is anything, any enterprise. And do you know what Richard Horton writes? I have lost faith in the greatest creation of mankind called science. Can you believe that? And this is the truth. So ladies, you are doing a wonderful job. Don't worry about what others say. Move on, push on, and do greater things. And you're capable of that. Because there's a book called Science of Human Possibilities. If you have a will, you can do anything. If you think you can climb the Himalayas, you can certainly do that. I met a neurosurgeon the other day, 42-year-old man. He comes and says, sir, I was your old student, but do you know I went to the Mount Everest. I said, how did you? Did you have any training? No, sir. I went to the Himalayas and I lived with the Sherpas for 1 month. These Sherpas are adept at doing that. I never went to any mountaineering institute. I don't have any training, nothing. These Sherpas took me up and down, and then one day they said, come on, we'll go. And I went and came back, sir. Can you believe that? So we must have a will. I wouldn't be able to do that because I don't have the will. So he must have the will, and you can do anything. And you girls have got a wonderful will, looking at what you have done. And if this is the proof of what you have done, I think you have got greater things in store for you in the future. So don't look back, march ahead and continue to do the good work that you are doing. And if you did that, one more benefit or the bonus that you get is none of you will get any disease worth mentioning. Enthusiasm, simply enthusiasm to work and enthusiasm to be compassionate is the definition of health. Definition of health is not absence of disease. There is nobody without any disease, let me tell you. Now if I scan all of us together from the mutated cell which is called cancer, all of us will have not one cancer, several cancers. But they don't become clinical cancers and kill you. Only when your consciousness makes it, when you have fear, hatred, jealousy, anger, cancer grows. Cancer doesn't grow by any other thing. Heart attack comes not by eating cholesterol, but by hating others. And Ayurveda knew this thousands of years ago. It said, Krodha, Shokha, Bhaya, Ayasa, Viruddhanna Bhojana, Taponalan, Katva, Amlakshara, Lavana, Tikshnoshnati, Rakta, Pitta, Prakopet. All diseases come from the mind. And if you can keep your mind under control, with a quality education which must make a healthy mind, which is enthusiasm to work and enthusiasm to be compassionate, you will be healthy. So that's the bonus that accrues to you. Because there is an old saying, it says, if you are doing God's work, if you are doing society God's work, God will come down and cover you with a blanket to protect you in all seasons. What a beautiful saying. So you will be protected physically and emotionally by the blessing of Lord coming through Swami. And that's exactly what was the cause or the reason why you succeeded in the first place. After all, can you imagine a few girls sitting together and saying, we'll do this, and you have done it. And that is real proof of the pudding is in eating. And I congratulate you for that. It's a wonderful work. As Madam rightly said, the like of which very few people have done in the past. In many other countries also you don't have. They're all Sevas doing service, but that is only shaving others. In the name of service, the Westerners do a lot of things. Like for example, you probably have read about people giving billions of dollars for charity. But if you look at it very carefully, this charity is a business. It will come back to you. There's a nice editorial about the biggest man you read in the paper every day, saying that he gave billions here, billions there, and this and that. He says, is he a philanthrope or an opportunist businessman? 2-year study showed he is an opportunist businessman. What does he do? He gives vaccinations all over the world, and the vaccines are produced in his own company. And he will give you money to buy vaccine, that money comes back to the company. That is not charity. This is really charity, giving a part of you to society. You don't have to do big things. What is Madam doing is charity. Reddy Garu is doing his charity. They have no interest in what they do. They do it for the good of others. And if you work for others, good. God will work for you. You don't have to say anything. You know, a lot of people say, oh, where is God? Because, bad people only become bigger and bigger. That is only one side of the coin. Radhakrishnan, Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, our president, has written a beautiful book called Problems in Philosophy, where he says, you see sometimes very bad people prospering in life. Then you say, what is this all goodness, all good things that we were told in the... Then he says, you have not seen the whole movie. It is like you are going for a movie in the middle, because you are busy, and you see only one or two scenes and come back. And in that one scene, you would have seen the policeman kicking a thief in the police station, hurting him, hitting him, and you think, what bad people these police are. But if you have seen the whole movie, this man who is there being beaten is a rapist, is a murderer, is a serial murderer, so he deserves that punishment. So we have not seen the whole of theirs. You see the next generation, what happens. I know of one family in Delhi, because I know them very well. Big family, industrialist family. They have a lot of money. And his net asset at that time was 1,000 crores. This is about 15 years ago. And the man was very unhappy because he had only 2 sons. And these 2 sons do not look at each other's face. And a moderator had to do arbitration. So the old man and the old lady said, we will keep 2 crores in the bank for us to sustain. And we will give the rest to these 2 sons on one condition. At least on Sunday, they must both come to our house and have a meal with us. Neither of the son agreed. I don't want to see that ass's face. I won't come. I don't want the money. Can you see this hatred? This is what happens when you amass wealth by unfair means. Your next generation probably gets the wrong twist. Sometimes it comes in the same generation. You see how people, the NPAs, that make people who asset NPA, non-performing asset of the banks, 1,25,000 crores is the NPA. All due to large industrialists. And they enjoy life, but they don't enjoy life. It looks as if they are enjoying life. It's Maya. The real thing is to sleep in the night, they require a couple of pecks of whiskey. To wake up in the morning, they require a real strong Kumbakonam coffee. Otherwise, they can't wake up in the morning. This is because you see those people sleep on the roadside. They deep sleep on the roadside because they have a clear conscience. So if you want to get good sleep, have a clear conscience. Don't cheat nobody, don't backbite anybody, don't hate anybody, don't harm anyone, but love all. That's exactly what the Sangh is doing. Thank you all very much for having me here.